This is a gaming show where we keep you up to date with the latest Nintendo related gaming news. On today's show, we'll also be taking a look at the latest news and rumours from Capcom's latest game, Resident Evil 9! I love Resident Evil. I cannot get enough of it. I love the movies, I love the games. Gimme more Resident Evil. Now, there is a new Resident Evil coming out, and we've known this for quite some time. Capcom announced that Resident Evil 9 was in development way back in February 2024, but the game's actually been in development for like 7 or 8 years. But Capcom has given us no information since then. Nobody knows what's going on. Now, there's rumours that it's going to be first person like Resident Evil. There's rumours that it's going to be third person like the Resident Evil remakes. There's rumours that Leon, Jill, Chris are going to be the main characters. There's rumours that the game's going to take place in Singapore. There's rumours that the next game could be called Resident Evil Revenant Shadows. Who knows what that means? There's been rumours circulating on the internet, floating around everywhere, and supposedly we have got some details on Resident Evil 9. There's someone on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, and they've basically done a massive thread on gameplay details on the new Resident Evil 9 game. Now, it turns out that the game's actually been rebooted and Capcom have started the game again from scratch. But I'm going to stop talking, I'm going to read what this guy's saying on Twitter, and I'm going to give you the news. Now, supposedly Resident Evil 9 started out as an open world multiplayer game. That sounds horrendous. Well, to be honest, do you remember that game Resident Evil Outbreak? Capcom made a Resident Evil game on the PlayStation 2 called Resident Evil Outbreak. I don't know if you remember it, but it was an online co-op survival horror game, and you could pick 4 different characters and they all had different abilities. Like, one character started off with a gun, one character had lockpicking abilities so you could get indoors and like open chests and stuff like that. Now, I never played this game, but the concept of the game at the time was absolutely incredible. I never played it because you needed one of them modems for the PlayStation 2, and I just never had one of those. Like, online gaming wasn't even a proper thing back in the day at this point for me. So I guess online multiplayer in a survival horror game kind of can work, but it's not what I want from a mainline Resident Evil. So he's basically gone on Twitter and he said, so nearly every Resident Evil 9 rumor I've seen over the years has been bullshit. The Native American Wendigo Blood Moon rumor, bullshit. Goatman with Jill in a hospital, bullshit. Now, I've never heard of any of these rumors before. I'm not gonna lie. Goatman with Jill in the hospital, what kind of plot line is that? I don't even know why I'm reporting on this because I don't even know who this guy is. It's called Aesthetic Gamer, aka Dusk Golem. I don't know who you are. I don't know if you've got any credibility, but I've seen the article and I want to tell you about it. So then he goes on to say, Andy's the only person who shared stuff which I can corroborate is true. Some stuff I've been saying. Now, I don't know who Andy is. I don't know who these people are. Should I be listening to these people? Should I be making news videos on something that a guy called Andy said? I don't know, probably not. The development for Resident Evil 9 started alongside Resident Evil Village, but the sales of Resident Evil 7 initially were quite slow, especially when you compare them to like the numbers that Resident Evil remakes were getting. So Capcom decided to switch up the gameplay formula, and they decided to move away from like the first person perspective style Resident Evil game. They got rid of like the claustrophobic environment, and they decided to go with like a more open world style game in a third person's perspective, supposedly, because we don't know. Now, normally when video game developers scrap a game, cancel it, delay it, it's normally bad news. I'm not actually bothered or even scared about the fact that Capcom have scrapped Resident Evil 9 development and rebooted it and restarted it again, because let's be honest, Capcom are no strangers to scrapping games and starting them all over again from scratch. Now, we all know that Resident Evil 4, one of the greatest games of all time, had a horrendous development schedule. The game got started, it stopped, it got scrapped, it got rebuilt, it got rebooted, it got dashed out, it got brought back in. Like, it was a mess. Resident Evil 4 went through numerous gameplay changes. During development, the game's direction changed so much that Capcom decided to turn it into a completely new game, like, entirely. The original Resident Evil 4 game ended up turning into the game that we now know as Devil May Cry. After Capcom scrapped the first version of Resident Evil 4 and turned that into Devil May Cry, they went back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board. They went back to the drawing board and they started again. And one of the previous versions that Capcom shown off, I will never forget, you had Leon walking through this kind of gothic castle setting. Still remember to this day, I thought the game looked incredible, the lighting looked incredible. You saw like the curtains blowing in the wind. It looked absolutely amazing. On top of that, you had like this crazy fog monster that constantly chased you throughout the game. But they scrapped that version. After that, Capcom then started the game again and they changed the setting slightly. The game still had a supernatural setting, but this time, in the next trailer that Capcom showed off for Resident Evil 4, Leon was being chased by like this ghost poltergeist thing with a hook. Imagine like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, but Nemesis is just chasing you for the whole entire game. It kind of had like that kind of vibe. But Capcom decided to scrap that and they started development of Resident Evil 4 again. So Capcom scrapped that version and then they built the Resident Evil 4 that we all know today. So yeah, I just can't wait for Resident Evil 9. Super excited to get my hands on it, or at least get some kind of gameplay trailer reveal. Now it is Summer Games Fest coming up next week, so Capcom might announce something. I don't know. So what remake is coming up next? What's the next Resident Evil game that Capcom are going to remake? Well, the obvious answer would be Resident Evil Code Veronica, right? I mean, I've never played it. I never played it on Dreamcast. Would they remake Resident Evil 5? I think it might be too soon to remake Resident Evil 5. I don't think we need Resident Evil 5 yet. I think they should remake Resident Evil 0. Or maybe remake the original remake. No, remake Resident Evil 0. That would make more sense. So yeah, I love Resident Evil and I'm super excited to play this game because I know, first of all, that this game will be hitting the Nintendo Switch 2. I cannot wait for Capcom to give me native versions of all the Resident Evils on my Nintendo Switch 2 because I probably will buy them all. I want 1, 2, 3 remake, give me Resident Evil 4 remake even though I've already got it on my PlayStation, and then give me Resident Evil 9, give me 7, give me 8, give me all these Resident Evils. And that's what we have time for today. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned because we will be doing reaction videos. Summer Game Fest kicks off on... pardon me. Oh my god, what is wrong with me today? Summer Games Fest kicks off on June the 6th and we've got the Xbox Microsoft Showcase coming on June the 8th. Sony will be doing a State of Play Over showcase at some point. And then we've also got whatever Nintendo decides to show us. So I'll be covering it all. I'm going to be covering it all. There'll be loads of videos. It's going to be a madness. We've got a crazy couple of weeks coming up. Let's be honest, June is going to be wild, mate. Switch 2, Summer Games Fest, Mario Kart World. Life is good. Life is good.